So extracurriculars, I won't stress completely on it, but I would say that it is very important to have a few extracurricular activities under your belt, because they would like to see how well-rounded you are in your, in managing your extracurriculars with your curriculars. Because MBA is not just about, studying or just focusing on lectures. It is much more than that.
What would be your recommendations for the students who have your work appearing for CAT right now and they're going
Hmm.
forward with it, whether they are freshers or they have work X, how should they frame their profile or resume based on getting accepted to these top colleges that they are aiming for? Welcome to Skilled Sapiens Podcast, your beacon for growth, development, and innovation. I'm Padmaja, delightful to be your host for today, a companion to this insightful voyage. At Skilled Sapiens, we pride ourselves to be a little more than a mentorship hub, where our mission is to provide you tools and insights for your smooth transition from your classroom to the boardroom to bring your vision to life. And today we are incredibly fortunate to have someone who embodies the very essence of what we stand for. So stay tuned as we are about to take off for a journey of finance and share a conversation with none other than the financial trailblazer, Pia Basu herself, who is a rising titan in banking, who is not just crunching numbers but also breaking boundaries. As a summer intern at HSBC, she got her hands on the financial pulse. Coming to us from the grounds of IMT Ghaziabad, she has been wielding her PGTM in banking and financial services. So we are very happy to have you, and we would like to dive deep and decode the algorithms of how you have become this pro with your academia. So we are very happy to have you here, Priya.
That's really sweet and kind of you. That was a very nice introduction. And yes, I'm from IMT Ghaziabad. I'm pursuing PGDM in banking and financial services, and I've just begun my internship at HSBC. The last 3 weeks have been awesome, and yes, I would love to answer any and every question.
Yeah, we are delightful to have you on board. So I'll start with the questions. So, can you share some insights of your application and review process for the MBA conversion of candidates?
Yes. So, when you give an application to any MBA college, the first couple of things that they first check is the minimum eligibility. So, if you have crossed, say, 50%, 60% in your 10th, 12th, and then if you have crossed a little bit of CGPA in your undergraduation, that is when they will consider your application for review. Then they go to extracurriculars. So extracurriculars, I won't stress completely on it, but I would say that it is very important to have a few extracurricular activities under your belt, because they would like to see how well-rounded you are in your, in managing your extracurriculars with your curriculars. Because MBA is not just about, studying or just focusing on lectures. It is much more than that. Also, there is WorkX. Now, there is this myth that, MBA colleges only take people who have a lot of work experience. And I would like to say that it's not very true, because most of my peers near me, around me, they're just freshers with just amazing scores and good extracurriculars. So the application review process would entail, minimum eligibility, your extracurriculars, your academic scores, and WorkX, if any.
Okay, so based on what you said, what would be your recommendations for the students who have your work appearing for CAT right now and they're going
Hmm.
forward with it, whether they are freshers or they have work X, how should they frame their profile or resume based on getting accepted to these top colleges that they are aiming for?
So their application, the first application process does not really ask you a lot of personal questions. It's a lot of technical questions of your, scores, that is 10th, 12th, and CAT or ZAT or GMAT. And after that, if you go to the next round and then they ask you for an SOP, or they ask you to respond to any personal questions, any experiences that you might have had, that is when the crafting of the application takes place. I think for that, a very important tip would be to give a story instead of just trying to give facts about yourself. If you're able to construct a story of how you've come here and how you've chosen to apply to this particular MBA program, that is what excites the application reviewer, because he doesn't want to look at how much you scored and how well you've scored or what you did to score those marks, but he wants to see how you've reached till now, how you have chosen this particular program, why you want to get into it, what excites you in the program. So that is how the crafting of the application takes place.
Yeah, that was very insightful. So the next question would be, what are some of the common challenges you feel conversion applicants face during their MBA admission journeys? Like, what was something that
Yes.
you also faced?
Okay, so I think a very big one would be the selection of courses. Now, when you're applying to an MBA college, they don't just have one singular course. They have a multitude of courses. So what you have to do here now, you have to have a plan for your long-term career goals. I'm not saying you need to know which position you're going to be in or what you want to do and where you want to end up in the next 20 years, but you need to know what you want to do after the MBA. So, for example, for myself, if I have to give, I did my BBA in fintech, that is financial technology, from Christ University. And through that time, I was able to understand that it is not just core finance that I want to get into, but I want to explore financial technology, that realm. So, my first choice was the BFS program, actually, but that is because I went through the course curriculum that IMT Ghaziabad offers. So you can't just choose a very good institute and then go about saying, "Ki, this is, they just offer this particular course and I want to go to that." You have to know what you want to do. So my first option was BFS, then I chose finance, and then my third one was core. So I would suggest any applicant to have a plan of your long-term goals. So this is one challenge that people go through. So select your courses according to what you want to do in the future. Not Don't just take up anything. Second would be, see, this is again the second step of the application process, that is the crafting of the SOP or any essay that might be given to you. So when you're writing an essay, you need to again have something interesting to tell about yourself. They all already know your marks and how much you scored, but now you have to give them something exciting about yourself, something that would add to the school's value as well. These are two things.
Yeah, like I see that you had a very clear vision since the point you were graduating when it came to finance. But there are many children like who are from, let's say, a
Hmm.
science background, maybe pursue
Hmm.
BSc, and then they go forward for their MBAs. So while they are confused on what to take, but they do want to go in forward with the business
Hmm.
realm that they want to step in for, how should they go forward and how should they mentor
Hmm.
themselves into this? Like,
So these students going forward, I think if you have an interest in business, you might also know or wish to know what you want to do in the business realm afterwards as well. So what these students can do, for example, if a student has a science background and wants to get into an MBA, he needs to know whether he'll be able to crack the program once he's there. Even if you do get selected, you do have to cover 2 years. You can't just sail through it, because MBA is a very tough program in any college. So to do that, again, I would refer back to my first answer, is that you need to know the course curriculum. Whatever course you're choosing, go through the subjects. There is always a list of subjects provided on, whenever you Google, you'll be able to find a very clear course outline, and go through the subjects and understand whether you will be able to, if not master, but at least try to do well in those subjects. See, a core science student may not be amazing at, say accountancy in the first go. I'm not discouraging those people to not to apply to finance, but at the same time, if the course asks for a lot of finance subjects, you need to have some kind of a basis. If you think that you'll be able to take some side classes before joining, if you think that you'll be able to master it or try to master it with your friends, with your peers. If you think you can do that, please go ahead. But if not, if you think that it might be difficult for you, I would suggest that try to choose something which is a bit varied. For example, an MBA in marketing or an MBA in core, that is the general courses, that gives you the opportunity to choose your major in the second year. That would be a better option instead of going to a very specific program. So to those students, I would say that.
I think that was quite insightful. Thank you for that. Uh, the next question would be how important you mentioned that work experience is not something like it's a myth that work experience is like important. But even then, how important is work experience in the conversion process and what type of experiences are the most valued? So are that the core work experiences or even internships, which normally don't come under the bracket of work experience, leveraged by those colleges, or should the students pursue live projects? What do you
Hmm.
suggest? What do you say?
Hmm. I feel that I won't say that it's completely non-useful having a work experience because um, it would be easy for you when you go to an internship. Now, since I was a fresher, there were a lot of things that I had to navigate that people with work experience do not have to navigate it because they already know how to go about those situations. So yes, it is useful, but it is not the only one thing that is, it's not the deciding factor for any MBA college, I feel. An MBA college will look at you how you are as an individual completely. So the first, of course, the biggest hurdle is to obtain a really competitive score in the competitive exams. That is, if you clear that in the interview round, you go about your basics in undergrad. Now, apart from that, you were talking about internships and projects. They're very helpful in general. See, when you want to talk to an interviewer about what you have done, the interviewer will not just ask you questions about general knowledge or accounts. They will also want to know what you have done, what experience you have. So if you have a few internships, life projects, work experience under your belt, you get to talk in the interview. Now if an interviewee has many talking points, he can control the interview. When that happens, it's very easy to sail through it because you're able to show what you're confident in, you're able to talk what you're confident about, and of course that helps. Now if it only goes that the interviewer is asking you questions, you might get stuck on a few of them. You might be nervous, you might not know the answers, but once you have some sort of experience in terms of life projects, internships, STPs, WorkX, you are able to be in control of the interview. And that is where I think the maximum help will come through these activities.
Correct. Yeah. Thanks so much for that answer. The next question would be, what are the common challenges, what are the strategies can conversion applicants use to strengthen their candidacy and stand out in their admission process?
So as I mentioned, the biggest things you have to cross is, of course, getting a competitive score in the examinations because that is the first cutoff, right? So if you clear that and then you go to the interview round, this is something that you need to prepare for, almost as equivalent to how much you prepared for your CAT or SAT exams. Why? Because you have to be very clear about your basics, something that you might not remember, but you have studied, that can be very well asked in your interview. So be clear about your basics. Know what you studied in your undergraduation. They will definitely ask you questions about your undergrad. And especially if you have an interesting major in your undergrad, the interviewer will definitely be asking questions on that. Know about economics if you're going for finance courses, know about accountancy. If you're going for marketing, of course, you need to know your marketing basics because they will expect you to be well read before coming into an MBA program. They will want you here, they might want you to have done some content internships or marketing internships. That is, of course, a bonus for them. Know the current news, know news about your hometown. That is one thing that you can, reading up is one thing that you can use to strengthen your candidacy. So, and one more very important tip that I'll give you to stand out in the admissions process is have some questions ready to ask the interviewer. So, at the end of any interview, an interviewer will definitely ask you if you have any questions to ask. And if you ask them any question that you have in your mind, it is not irritating to the interviewer. It actually shows interest and curiosity, and it shows that you have actually read up about the institute, about the program, and that you're very well interested in getting into the program and excelling in it. So this is one thing that I think conversion applicants can use.
Okay, that was really insightful. We would like to ask you, how do MBA programs support conversion students academically and professionally once they are admitted? Do they actually add value?
Yes, of course, definitely. So MBA programs are not just meant for gaining extra knowledge or getting another degree on board. It is actually it very well helpful in terms of your professional life going forward. So once admitted, the first opportunity that the converted candidates would be to get into clubs and committees. So if your CV isn't very shiny, I would suggest to get into any club and committee of your own interest. Then they will provide you, IMT has provided us with, short-term projects and live projects. There has been a lot of case competition support. So if you are interested into even in fact, even in case competitions, if you excel in them, they often offer you internships and PPIs. So this support is offered by the institution. Then there is, of course, the placement committee, which honestly works tirelessly to get good companies on board. And other than that, you'll always have the support of faculty and mentors and the alumni group, as well as your peers and the friends that you make, the network that you make in your MBA really helps you academically and professionally and even personally. So MBA programs are great in supporting your professional life, your career, even after you've joined your internship, even after you've joined your final program. So definitely, I would say MBA programs are really helpful that way.
One more thing is, what are the misconceptions or myths in the MBA conversion programs that you would like to debunk for all our viewers?
Okay, so one thing I have mentioned is the work experience thing. It is not that you really need work experience to get into an MBA. It is helpful, of course, but at the same time, even if you do not have it, you can very well get into an amazing MBA college. Then there is one thing that I like to say, that the work-life balance, it is said that, when once you get into an MBA, you're not able to sleep, you're not able to,
Correct.
hang out with friends. It is absolutely not true. You just have to manage your academics as well as your curriculum, as well as your co-curricular, and it's very easy once you have your friend group or your peers doing the same things day in and day out. You find a balance very easily. Then, of course, one more thing that I would suggest, that I would like to debunk actually, is that networking is the main focus, and I would like to express this for maybe introverts and ambiverts, much like myself, is that networking is not a big difficult thing to do. You just have, even if someone's coming and talking to you, or you're going and talking to them, that's networking. There's nothing special or shiny about it. It's not very difficult. Even if you're not talking to anybody, that's also fine, because in MBA, it will provide you an experience, and it has to be your own personal experience. It doesn't have to be based on things that many other people have done. If that has worked for other people, it's great. But if not, that's also fine. You'll find other things that will work for you. Once you get into a club or a committee, it's very easy to network. You just have to, do events, participate in events, study well, and have fun. It's very easy actually to once you get into an MBA.
Listening to you, MBA sounds very fun, actually. So I think many people will be excited for their journey right now. And it is a great opportunity that because of the podcast, I get to network with you. So yeah, networking.
Definitely, yeah.
So the next question would be, what advice would you give to someone considering a MBA conversion program, but is feeling very unsure about their chances for admission or about their CAT percentile?
Okay. See, one thing I will not say that doesn't matter is your that percentile or is that percentile. It does matter a lot. This is one thing that it is non-negotiable for any good MBA college. But if you have a good CAT percentile and you're still wondering whether you'll be able to pass through the GD rounds or the interview rounds, I would suggest that confidence does wonders. Now, how you can gain confidence is it's not just inborn. It's something that you can develop if you're well read, if you are confident on what you know. You gain a lot of confidence and it's very easy to crack through. Also, once you're able to show to the interviewer or the GD panel how hard you're willing to work, or willing to show your interviewer that you're very, very, very interested in knowing more and gaining knowledge, and not everything is just going to be about academics for you. If you show them that you are a well-rounded individual and are willing to learn more, even if you have not done a lot of things in the past. For example, if you do not have, many activities or internships under your kitty, it's not very important to have that too. If you want to do that and you're willing to show your enthusiasm for it, you'll very well be able to get admitted into the college of your choice. So, of course, score and confidence, these two things are very, very helpful.
So we clearly understood that the scores are important. So how would you what would you recommend to a student who is now about to go for their CAT? How should they go about the journey, whether while going for VARC or let's say for quants or logical reasoning? When you're just about to start, how should they go about? Would it be mocks, or what
Hmm.
do you suggest, or how had you started with
Hmm.
your
If
journey?
this is the year that you're giving your CAT, I would suggest if you just have a couple of months left and you're starting right now, I would say that it's just a bit late, but that's fine. You can still work. It's not very difficult, because when I gave my entrance exams, that was whilst I was in my undergraduate in college, and I was giving those exams as well. So it's not very difficult. You can do it if you really, really focus, and time management is key. So what I did for my own self is I managed time. There was a timetable that I stuck through. And for VARC, of course, reading up, you must have joined, a coaching center. So the books that they suggest, you must read up on them. Quants, you have to practice every day. You can't leave out quants. LR sets, if not every day, do it one. If you're confident about them, it's not important that you do it every day, but every alternate day, you must have a number of sets that you're willing to complete and are going to sit and complete. It is going to take time. It will require a lot of perseverance, because oftentimes when you start giving mocks, I mean, when I started with mock, it was a very bad experience. It was traumatic almost, because the first couple of scores were not good. But if you are willing to, you know, persevere through it, if you're willing to give it the time that it requires, and manage time, you can't just keep on focusing on studies. You need to have some breaks as well. You need to give yourself some time to give your mind the rest that it requires. If you manage these two things well, at the same time, if you're not broken down by some setbacks, it's this is the advice I try to give, just persevere and do not break down whenever anything, any setback happens. It's all going to turn out well.
Yeah, that was very motivating. So when it comes to, so this is the first part, right? Like giving the CAT
Hmm.
exam, and then your
Hmm.
percentile comes out. Then it's the applications rolling in. So when you are going forward with, let's say, your SOPs or your group discussions and personal interviews, what was your personal experience, and what do you suggest people to be thorough on, or what should they read up? How would they gain their confidence and go forward with it?
Hmm. So when you've passed into, you've crossed the cutoff and now you've got your letter, it's an amazingly surreal feeling, firstly, if you get into the school of your choice. Then next comes, of course, prepping for the interviews and the GDs. What I did personally here was, for the GDs, it's very similar actually, for the GDs and the PIs. For both of them, I read newspapers. Every day read ET, every day read a book of your choice. Go through, newsletters. Because once you are well spoken, once you have the confidence, even if you do not know much about the subject, you can do very well in GDs. Now, this is one advice that I'd like to give is, if you're in a GD and you do not know the topic, you know nothing about the topic, keep silent for the first 2 3 minutes. Listen to what the others are saying. Formulate your points based on theirs, whether you agree or disagree. Find a stance. Don't just agree to everything that's happening. Find a stance, even if it is the opposite of what's happening. It is actually very preferable if it's the opposite. So, if you're able to formulate your points, collect yourself, and then even if you give out 2 3 talking points and conversational points, that is when you win a GD. So I would go back to this again. If you're confident, you can rock through your GDs and PIs very easily. So the only thing you can do here is, now you've completed your CAT, you've completed your ZAT, you're just done. Now you just have to be confident and read up. It's very important to know what's happening in and around the world. So even if you're able to give in examples of something which is not exactly related to the topic going on, you're just getting more points. So read up and be confident. That's what I would suggest.
Okay. So you have too many laurels to you. Did you have any hardships when it came to CAT or throughout the journey of MBA? What were your hardships or
Now it seems, easy key, you just read up and you study and you give CAT and everything
that?
happens. No,
Hmm.
it's not that. Of course, now that I'm able to suggest time management and making a timetable and sticking through it, it seems like, a child's play, but it's not. Making a timetable and sticking through it's a definite hurdle, because you have so many things you want to do at that age. You want to go out with friends, you want to catch up on your shows, and maybe read also. That's what interested me. And I used to miss my books of my choice, and I when I had to read all these classics. So of course time management was a very big hurdle that I had to cross, because I don't think I was very good at managing time in the beginning. It took time for me to inculcate the discipline. And for that, again, I would say ki, even if it does take time, do not stop. Not everything comes easy, and definitely discipline does not come very easy. But you need to know your end goal. You're getting into a good college of your choice. You're getting into an institute which will give you much more than these couple of months will give you. So these couple of months, if you just, this was my thought process at least, ki, work through these 8 9 10 12 months, and then life becomes much fun than you might think is going to be.
Definitely, definitely. So now that you passed through Christ and you were really good with your scores when it came to your financial uh, domain, after that
Yeah.
you got into MBA. And how was your journey when you were applying for internships, considering the job
Hmm.
markets at this time have been a little hard to crack? How did you make your resume stand out from your co-peers and go about it?
See, I would say that, about, if I'm just talking about getting shortlisted, if that is the first hurdle that you have to cross into get when you're getting into internship, is, of course, your CV has to stand out. Now, the thing is that for students who are planning to apply in the next couple of years, they have time and they must add co-curriculars which are relevant. Don't just add anything and everything and go about doing anything and everything you feel would be, in addition to your CV, but try to figure out the things that matter. For example, Olympiads, competitions which are relevant, maybe quizzes, essay writings, things that are actually key, things that actually make an interviewer or an internship company interested in your profile. Do those things instead. Other than that, of course, I will never stop you from going about your hobbies. For example, people like dancing, they're very great at it and they go into competitions for those things. Of course, if you are good at that, of course you can show that, but at the same time you need to have a balance between that and relevant competitions. So I think that's how my CV stood out, is that during my time in my undergraduation and throughout my schooling, I would take part in competitions which interested me, I mean, dance or anything that a person is interested in, and also academic competitions. So I wrote a research paper in my undergraduation college. I was awarded for it to be the best paper. And then I took part in internships, which actually mattered. I was part of the UN for 2 months. And doing these things, adding some small things in your kitty, when you're able to reflect them onto your CV, that's what makes your CV shiny. So for that, if you have time, do that. If not, go into an MBA and get into, clubs, committees, events, so that when you're shortlisted, you're able to talk and show to the interviewer that even if I was not very keen on doing all this previously, now I am willing to work as hard, if not more. So that I
Correct.
would suggest.
So you basically mean if in the past they weren't able to wear as many caps as you did, they should show the enthusiasm enough to for the interviewer to actually pick
Yes.
them. Yeah, okay, that makes sense. Now, the final question would be, how does the network and alumni community of an MBA program contribute to success of conversion of students or for placement or for internship, or does
Hmm.
it help in any sense?
Yes. So IMT Ghaziabad is known for its alumni base. Now what I have seen happen with me is that I've now added to the IMT alumni group. If I want to connect with anybody ranging from, CXOs to, mid management also, they are there in that group, part of that group. And I can talk to them, seek their help wherever I want to. And they'll obviously help me because I'm now a student of their alum base. Additionally, what happens is that if there are roles rolling out in their organizations, they will share those links and invites on this group as well. They will come to our college to give motivational speeches. There will be multiple events which they are part of, and they are the guest speakers in those events. So when all these things happen, when they're able to share their wisdom, being from the same institute, it not only helps in getting future prospects of jobs, but also it will help you on this date as well. I can go and ask for help through LinkedIn to anybody, and if they see that I am from IMT, they will definitely respond and reply. So if you have that connection, it's not just for today, it will be for years to come later.
I see. Yeah, that was very insightful. Okay, that is the wrap up of the interview we had. So, a very big thank you to you for coming and tuning in with us. You had been a great, incredible guest, and thank you for sharing your expertise with us. It gave us many insights and inspirations when it came to time management or how we should be going about. Thank you so much. So, to all our listeners out there, your support means everything to us. If you enjoyed today's discussion, which I'm very sure you did because Pia shared us a lot of things with us. So be sure to hit the subscribe button, leave us with a review. Your feedback drives our passion and helps us to continue with valuable content. Until next time, keep exploring, keep growing, and a reminder, greatness is within reach. This is your host signing off.